Folks, today I want to talk to you about the $1 Billion Johnson, aka Bryan Johnson, which is an awesome last name considering what I'm about to say next. Bryan is an interesting guy. He made a ton of money from tech. He actually owned a startup that eventually grew and acquired Venmo. Then he sold Venmo to PayPal, which is a bunch of words to say that Bryan has enough money to light on fire and have it not affect his life at all. Unlike other people with a lot of money, Bryan is not trying to build a spaceship. He's actually dedicated this part of his life into figuring out how to live forever, or at least longer. You know, he sells cool t-shirts like "Don't Die," which I think is a fun one to wear maybe before drunk driving. It's just kind of a reminder to yourself in the rearview mirror, hey, focus. Now, Bryan is a very polarizing figure. If you're online at all, you've probably seen him somewhere. He shows up in a lot of wellness content. He's been on many podcasts. People have plenty of jokes for him on Twitter. They say all kinds of stuff about him. They say he looks creepy. You know, they say his efforts are useless because despite putting in millions of dollars and hours of time into reverse aging himself, he still just looks like an aging lesbian in Portland. People call him weird, and out of all the criticisms people have for him, I think weird is fair. You know, this guy is having public boner-offs with his with his son. Nighttime erection data from my 19-year-old son and me. His duration is 2 minutes longer than mine. Raise children to stand tall, be firm, and be upright. Now, as a side note, the manufacturers of this cock sensor, I have a little idea for you. Instead of making this just a personal goal thing, create an online ranked leaderboard. I'll tell you right now, there are plenty of guys that if we could compete nightly to be the hardest one out, literally competing to be the hardest out, honey pack sales going up 500% for sure. I would down 4 Cialis every night with dinner, and I go to sleep with a smile knowing that I'm competing. You know, my wife, her hand would probably act up like the hand from Evil Dead, and it'd be going for my golden scepter, and I'd have to wrestle it off and have to let her know, like, babe, I'm dropping with the boys tonight. Now, when I saw this tweet, it convinced me to give his Netflix documentary a try, purely because I thought, this guy is kind of crazy, and I'm curious to know more about him. Now, me personally, I found his documentary to be a little bit boring because I know enough about him from a distance that I wasn't learning anything new. But that didn't stop me from going to his YouTube channel because I know a wellness guy cannot resist uploading his morning routine, and I was certain that the documentary was not doing it justice. So, lo and behold, if you go to his YouTube channel, there it is in all its glory. It was posted just 2 months ago, and I probably would have done a video about it then, but I made the decision to go raw. Honestly, I want to take you through the beginnings of this because if you've been on YouTube for the last 10 years, the morning routine is something that has continued to evolve. I've talked about it before on this channel, and I think it's very funny to compare where this guy is at and what guys were doing about 10 years ago. And I'll get into that in a minute, but first, let me show you just a little bit of this guy's morning routine.
Wakey, wakey.
Oh.
You want me to give you a few more minutes?
I'm good. Let's roll.
I think his team knows the optimal time to go in there because they have his boner stats. It's 7:08. We're outside of the optimized boner window.
Is it 7?
It's 7:08.
I was in the middle of a dream. What was happening? Something adventurous was going on. Like, I don't know. It's like...
I've said these exact same things to my wife. Let's just take a moment to applause Bryan. You got to appreciate trying to be humble about your wet dreams to your people. We know what it is, pal. You know, we see the stats. You're in there, dude. You're feeling good.
I went to bed at 10 o'clock last night. So what is that? That's 9 hours in bed.
Is that later than normal?
Yeah, we had game night with some friends last night. 8 hours and 40 minutes of sleep time. Oh, that's a good night. 2 hours and 24 minutes of REM. 1 hour and 44 minutes of deep sleep. Resting heart rate 46, 50, HRV 55. Morning routine started. I have this device, this is the mouth guard.
Look at the amount of shit on that counter. That is where men's skin and healthcare has gone to. We finally have the same amount of shit on the counter as our partners. Both people in the relationship have a GNC retail display on their bathroom.
It's been a little later than normal because of this jet lag.
So he's going to offer a lot of commentary about his life in between here, and I kind of want to expedite some of this. So what you are seeing is he starts his day by waking up, bricks to all hell, needs about 10 minutes to let it to calm down. Then he walks into his bathroom and he turns on the left headlamp from a Ford F-150 and he just stands in front of it. And what he's trying to do is emulate sunlight, which is good for your eyes apparently first thing in the morning. He then goes on to describe his body temperature, and he says he's
metabolically cold plunging, where my body just is at a lower temperature.
Which is awesome, because the way I read this is that his lifestyle is so optimized, his morning routine is so dialed in that he doesn't even need that $7,000 bathtub full of cold water. He's beaten that. He's leveled above that. He's the final boss of morning routine.
173.8.
Is that normal?
BMI, yeah, 23. Fat, 10%. Muscle, 86.2%. Visceral fat, 2.1.
This, I think, is a good precursor to the level of detail this guy is tracking his morning routine and his lifestyle. I'll let him continue, but I wanted this clip to play out just so you get a sense of it, because it obviously goes much deeper if you know anything about this guy.
173.8.
Is that normal?
BMI, yeah, 23. Fat, 10%. Muscle, 86.2%. Water, 58. I'm gonna brush my teeth and wash my face. And then for my hair, I apply a few of these serums and massage it in. And every day the goal is to put shoes and socks on. I've been experimenting with a humidifier face mask, which does a full wrap around the head. This does the ear and the eyes. This is the erection device. This is a breathing coach. The CO2 got a little high last night. That's unusual. I'm gonna switch to a tank top. So get the hair cap on.
That hair cap is actually just blasting TikToks through like a speech-to-text feed, so he doesn't actually have to consume TikTok. It just puts the quotes in his head, you know, so he can just kind of perk up at any point and be like, I knew this was going to happen. After putting on his standard issue brain rot cap, he goes on to take a ton of pills. And in his documentary, I think they say it's like 54 wellness pills. They're all just vitamins and minerals and all kinds of other stuff. And then at the 25-minute mark, of course, he's going to inject some shit in his ass, because injecting something in your ass is a core tenet of extending your life and just changing your body composition. We all know that. Which a mandatory pairing, sort of like cheese and wine, with injecting something in your ass is
red light therapy. Yeah, all right, so normally this is done naked, but since this is not my OnlyFans account, I'm going to keep my shorts on. By the way, did I start an OnlyFans account? Wouldn't that be kind of fun?
Bryan, do an OnlyFans account, but make it very academic. It's just filming the hours in which you pitch a tent.
Okay.
That shit is so bright that they had to drop the ND filters on it, and now he's just standing there like fucking Dr. Manhattan blasting his tits and cock off with this red light. This might be good for you, but it is one of the funniest things ever. You'll never convince me that this red light shit is serious. I've seen many ads for this. I've seen so many images of dudes just butt-ass naked standing in front of this. It makes me laugh every time. Don't care how good it is for you. It's always going to be funny. Now, despite him trying to sell you supplements, you know, who knows? Maybe all this is just one big ploy to kind of buy more Lamborghinis. I don't know. I've not been to his house. I don't know this guy. But on the surface, his focus on dying seems genuine. And unlike other guys with a ton of money, he doesn't seem terribly focused on making people feel poor. In fact, I've seen clips of him just kind of, you know, letting loose and dancing like a goof with his shirt off. And you kind of look at him and you're like, this guy feels a little bit human, which is unique, I would say, for people who have tons of money. But who knows? You know, maybe this guy's building a missile. I can't say. I personally find it interesting that this guy has made essentially dying his full-time job. At the end of it all, it probably will be something interesting that we can all read, because he is documenting it at a level that no one has in human history. This guy is just fully making himself a guinea pig which I can't deny. I think is kind of cool. And I don't know, maybe he's just doing it all to die at 110 to be like, I beat the game, which, you know, I have to respect. But the thing that I really take away from all of this is if you've been using YouTube for the last 10 years, you have indefinitely come across a morning routine video. And that has been the vehicle in my mind for people to sell you whatever, a workout plan, a supplement, some MLM bullshit, whatever it is. And we've seen them evolve, right? They've gone from 5 minutes to 7 minutes to 15 minutes to, you know, Dune level cinematography. And it's all this just long, verbose way of telling you that they wake up at 7, they stand in cold water, and they go to the gym, right? After watching Bryan Johnson's morning routine, I want to see all these people with a morning routine, a science-based morning routine video on their channel. I want you to pack it up. I want you to private it. I want you to delete it because it doesn't hold a candle to what Bryan Johnson is doing. It's very meticulous, you know, 170 wellness pills, precise sleeping, tracking your erection, all this stuff. What is the end benefit? At this point, it seems that for every 12 months that he ages, his body only ages 8, which means he's getting about 4 months of life back. And my brain kind of goes in extremes, right? You could just take the middle road, follow one of these science-based morning routines, you know, maybe you get a little extra time and, you know, maybe you live to 72. Fuck that. If you're not willing to go all in and take the, you know, 54 pills and blast your cock with red light and wear the TikTok hat, just die sooner. Because this, you know, Bryan is going to be able-bodied. He's going to be awesome at 80, 90, 100 years old. Not us, dude. None of us have these resources. We're going to be old, decrepit. We're going to be fucked up at 80. We should be trying to die sooner. We should be trying to live on like a Middle Ages timeline, you know, 60 years old max. Eat a bad turkey leg at medieval times and die in the parking lot. Go into the grave faster. Charge at it. Because if you're not going to try to beat death, you might as well embrace it.